So of course we don't know that until we do the work, and there's a lot of routes up the mountain, right? We're giving one of those routes as to how to, during that 3-step process, to identify what's going on, right? Now, underneath that, you peel back the onion, you first find out 1 layer, then 2 layers, and then the underlying root that Rachel was talking about in this situation is, okay, I'm not good enough, maybe. It's that tuning fork. And that's a universal theme. The ego's universal themes are, I'm not good enough, I don't have enough, or maybe I'm better than mentalities. And so to stick with I'm not good enough tuning fork, for me, I also grew up in a domestic violence type household, and always saw fights too, so I resonate with that. And same thing like she said, I also felt like I couldn't do anything. We didn't have a lot growing up, so I felt like I'm not good enough, I don't have enough, and I wanted to like not be that. So the intention was good, so I went throughout my life trying to be a Superman, if you will, for a relationship. And I listen to the societal norm right now. It's like, you got to get this car, you got to get this house, you got to get this suit, you got to have this job, you got to have this much money, this is what you should say, this is how you should be, and all this stuff. And, excuse me. So all this time I'm building an avatar of what I feel this person is going to fall in love with. But it's not me. I'm just abiding by what does movies say in magazines and what is going on. But it's coming from a place, I could show up good, I could provide, I can do all this stuff, but it has a shadow side to it. The Superman could do good things, right? I could show up and I'm paying the bills, I'm doing all this kind of stuff, I'm providing or whatever it may be. But why did I become Superman? For me, it was because the shadow side, which is, it's coming from a place of I didn't feel good enough. So I'm going to put on this armor, I'm going to put on this character, I'm going to put on these masks of like, I'm so great because I don't feel good enough, so I'm going to do everything I can. And so I still have a tuning fork that I haven't removed of I don't feel good enough. And so regardless of the people's situations, if she's got that tuning fork housed in that filing cabinet because of what she said, I also have that tuning fork filed in because of my tuning, in my filing cabinet. So we both have tuning fork A, let's call it. Tuning fork A is I'm not good enough. So when she says, hey, you have to do the dishes or whatever, she's striking tuning fork A. And I have tuning fork A. So I'm like, what the heck? And I'm getting triggered and I'm going to bite back and then we're going to add more wood to the fire and it's fight, fight, fight and toxic, toxic, toxic. Because we're just resonating each other. Right? And so this is happening constantly in an unconscious matter. And it's none of us' fault. It's just we have those tuning forks and they're resonating, right? So now
and the beautiful thing is that we can process that, heal that, and take that tuning fork out. Right? And that's what and if you do that, right? So if I had healed that part of me, or if he had healed that part of me, say I started yelling at him and about the same exact situation, kind of like what we saw a little bit in the second piece, was if I come at him and I'm yelling at him about something, if he didn't have that tuning fork anymore, he would be able to see beyond. He would be able to see beyond, and he would be able to have compassion for me. He'd be able to listen and hear me and hold space for me because it wouldn't trigger him. And so,
there's a quote out there, right? Like, hurt people hurt people. Right? Healed people heal people. And so if I'm not getting triggered by her yelling at me or screaming or whatever she ends up doing, and it can go both ways, but in this example, she's screaming at me, I'm not getting triggered, but I'm like, man, she must be really hurting right now. She needs love. She needs compassion. I may even honor, and this is a whole nother workshop, but some people just have intense energies. So I just honor that she has an intense energy. And there could be a lot of stuff going on in her life. And I'm just like, I hear you, babe. Like, how can I maybe ask a powerful question like, how can I best support you in this moment? And just breathe with her and be with her. And as you can probably see in our shirts here, be the love. One great way, of course, when people have removed that tuning fork is just to be love and to send love. Because if you guys have listened to, there's so many people who talk about this, let's say like Dr. Joe Dispenza, about influencing the field, right? If I get into a state of love, and the more that we do the reps and we're able to master that, build a bigger muscle spiritually, emotionally, mentally, I can then have so much love in this room where then I will influence this field where it's a universal law as well. Like when that happens, she'll be like, what the heck's going on? Like she just you can get to the point of that. It's not even mastery. You can get to a point where you're influencing the field so much where that person rises up to that energy. And the biggest thing is to create that space where that person feels safe. I see you, I hear you, I just want you to feel love, no matter how much I'm being attacked, or it doesn't matter, because I know that, you know, when she gets triggered, she knows that it's her stuff she's got to work through, and I'm going to hold space. If I'm getting triggered, I know I got to look the man in the mirror. Why am I getting triggered? And she's going to hold space. What do I need to do, babe?
Yeah.
And then we're both committed. Do we do this separately? Do we do this together? Do we get Juan Pablo in the mix?
Yeah.
Right? So like, whatever it is, I think it's great to like have that understanding together and say, how can we work through this? Because the safe space is there to remove that trigger, to remove that tuning fork.
And to really understand that these triggers that we pick up a trigger. Part of the whole process of this life experience is that we're these souls in these, like we call them, meat suits. And every time, you know, your soul will manifest different experiences so that you can heal those triggers. And it'll keep popping up in different situations, different patterns. That's why people often say like, oh, I keep ending up in the same kind of relationship, or I keep ending up in the same sort of situations. It's because it's still there. And we haven't done the work yet to really unpack, unravel, and remove that trigger, so we and understand how to make different choices, right? That we can be that renegade, make a different choice. And rather than react, we can do the 3-step process that we talked about, that we'll go into, to really help as one powerful way to remove that trigger. Maybe we could break down that 3-step process